or at least I don't think they can. I usually can't hear it, but that's. Alrighty, we'll call the meeting to order, review the agenda for adjustment of any items, additions or removals.
No, I don't believe we have any changes.
Alright, public forum, opportunity for citizens not on the agenda to briefly share comments or concerns. Anything, Jimmy? Department head roundtable. Public Works, Mr. Coda.
He's not here. Let's see.
You say that and I'll make you come up to the head table. That'll be your punishment, so.
I'm here. Let's see, we got. Gravel is all done, is all put up. Winter sand is all put up. We're starting the maintenance part of getting the trucks stuff ready for winter. Haven't got any salt ordered yet. We gotta clean out take the wings and stuff out of the salt shed, before I can order that, but that. I called them already on that and they're good to go whenever. I just need to call them and let them know that they can start hauling. Changed the culvert today on Carlson Road, that went really well. That's the gist of it, that's the main points anyways.
Gotcha.
Any word, you got this push button
Oh,
crosswalk sign in, but then
So-
had some complications with that, we talked
yeah,
about.
so Colby and I we got one together on Thursday afternoon, it was all put together. Lights up, works, everything, it's gonna take a crane to put it in, but. All that thing's heavy. We're gonna have to put it in with a loader. And I called Greg, Butler. To see if he had a postal digger on the back of a tractor or his bobcat or something, and what I wanna do is, because it's so heavy. Is I wanna dig a hole, like 8-inch or 10-inch hole, put a sonotube in, put the sleeve in and then concrete it. Because my fear is for that thing being so heavy and top heavy, that in the springtime when the ground gets soft and saturated,
You're gonna wanna.
they're gonna lean or they're gonna go over.
Yeah.
So I wanna do that, and he was gonna check on see what size his was, and then let me know either tonight or tomorrow. But one is all together, works fine,
Okay.
we didn't burn the circuit board up, so we're good for now.
Is it just a one battery in
No,
the,
there's two
so two per unit?
per
And
unit.
that's the weight,
Well, there's two per unit,
and then.
plus the solar panel, plus. There's two signs per post. So you got one on the back and one on the front, one on the back, one on the front, the lights are two per post, so you
Yeah.
can see them from either direction.
So now we know there's a reason why we're supposed to use the other round ones.
Yeah, let's try doing that next.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, I thought this would be, it seemed
I
like,
see
because
it.
they present them, it seems this is great, but then it's like all these things you're
Yeah.
discovering as you build it.
Right, and like I said, when I was talking to you about when we were doing it, I figured it was like the police department ones. Put the solar panels on, the wires hanging down, you
Yeah.
plug it in, you're done.
Yeah.
This ain't it. You
Yeah.
gotta chase wires up the post, so we had to get a piece of metal, what the hell?
Wire
There you
snake.
go. Something, snake, go down through the, push, it just. Monotonous and very time
Yeah.
consuming.
I mean, we could have, I mean, if we ordered the pole kit, it could have been the same thing, cause I
We
mean,
still would have to chase wires.
yeah, but this, it seems like the pole one. Given the amount of stuff that's on it now, and
It's a lot
you're
more-
pouring sonotubes where we thought we would just put it in a sleeve,
Right,
so,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thanks for working on that, I appreciate it.
Tomorrow we plan on, or I'm hoping to do the other one tomorrow.
Okay.
And then Greg gets back to me, hopefully we can do the holes. Maybe tomorrow afternoon or Wednesday, get them all set, pour, let them dry over the weekend and then put them in next week.
Okay. That's great, well, I appreciate all your work on that, thank you.
But yeah, they're definitely gonna have to be put in with a machine, cause we're not gonna be able to pick them up and.
Yeah,
So I'll have to chain them with an excavator or something to get them up and then. Try to slide them down in.
okay, and you're going down, do you find longer poles? What did you end up with?
We ended up using the sleeve on the top,
Oh, okay.
so the top signs kind of bulge a little bit because of the bolt in
Yeah.
the middle for the sleeve.
Yeah.
But you can't really.
Yeah,
notice
it works. And then how far is it going in the 3 foot?
It's still going in,
Okay.
1.5 2 foot.
Okay.
It'll go down.
All right.
So, and then with the concrete, I'm hoping that will
Yeah,
suffice.
I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see in the spring.
You might have leaning sign up
Yep.
Pleasant Street. You were vacationing, which is great. Ron LaRose was in and talked about sidewalks and the lips and wanted to know about the possibility of planing the lips off.
Okay.
Um,
So I did check on that when Sherry was in with her, injury. And I checked around, the only ones that I found that had planers was Sunbelt equipment or rentals up in Essex. Theirs will only do 2 inches. They will not do, they said if you do more than 2 inches, you're beating your head against the wall. It'll take you all day and then you probably still won't do it. I can check with Zach, that's concrete work, see if he knows anybody that's got a bigger one. Or the other alternative, there's 2 alternatives that we could do, depends on what you guys want, and this, you guys can talk about it if you want, one alternative is to cold patch them. Like we've done in the past. We've cold patched them before. The other alternative is to like, maybe hire Zach. To go around in concrete slopes on, and you could peg them. So the concrete would move, it would last a lot longer than the cold patch. But that would be something that you guys could talk about at some point and then just let me know which way to go.
Eric, have you talked to the town of Middlebury at all?
What's
Because have you talked to the town of Middlebury?
Well, I gotta switch around up here.
Have you talked to the town of Middlebury? Because when I took a run the other day, they had a lot of their sidewalks that looked like they had ground them down. And I thought initially it was the snowplow, but they use a snow brush, so they must have ground them down.
Yeah, you
I don't
can,
know who they use.
they told me 2 inches. If
Yeah.
they're any 2-inch lip, he says it won't work.
Okay.
Unless I find a bigger one somewheres.
well, she's saying check with Virgin or.
Middlebury, I'll call Middlebury, tomorrow and check with them and see what they use.
Probably the would be less than 2 inches. The
Yeah.
one by the library was.
That was.
Yeah, that was big.
Pretty good.
Most that I've seen around town
Yeah.
are smaller. Some of you can see it has been chipped away over time by maybe people who live near the sidewalk or.
Well, it's probably
the plow.
the plow.
Oh, the plow.
The plow's probably chipped quite a bit of them.
That's true. Because
But we
incentive,
can, we
right?
can go with the fact that we can go get the one from Sunbelt
Okay.
and then do what we can do
Yeah,
with that one.
and I can give you a list. I can look at the last inventory was done. It's all mapped out
Yeah.
in GIS. And I can see where it's highlighted, like that one, by the library was highlighted. It wasn't
Okay.
highlighted in a like a replace thing. It
Yeah.
was just called out, but I'll look through and give you a list. And then that'll be a starting point. Some may, I mean, it probably hasn't changed a lot in a couple of years, so,
I wouldn't think so.
okay. Yeah. I can work on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll check with Middlebury, Michelle.
I can get
Okay, thank you.
the head of public works, so.
Oh, that'd be great, that'd be great.
Anything else for Eric? Jessica, anything for Eric?
No, I just had the same question about the sidewalks.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. I do not see Bruce. Brett, you're up.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So worth highlighting, last Wednesday, we had open house, if you will, for prospective cadets at the fire station. It was our regular equipment inspection and staff meeting night. But we had some young people and their families in to ask questions and look around. And in general, there seemed to be some enthusiasm, so that's exciting about the possibility of bringing some new people in the door to introduce them to the world of the fire service. Also, last week on Thursday, the department, we completed our annual pump testing on engine 1 and engine 2. Next week we have annual hose and ladder testing, and I'm looking into. I know this isn't new news for any of you except for Greg. Trying to move forward with the pickup truck I've been discussing for the last year and a half, with a half-ton pickup, something more manageable, more affordable than some other ideas that have surfaced. And we're also continuing to pursue a midi pumper to replace our current mini pumper and heavy rescue vehicle. Just to let you all know, we're looking at some used vehicles. You know, we got a quote back for a mid-D, so MIDI, so like a mid-sized pumper, a new one, and the price tag was just shy of $700,000. And needless to say, you know, we all know this stuff costs a lot of money, and I was a little surprised by the estimate, but it doesn't matter what vendor you go to, it's going to be the same price. You know, just to give you guys a little perspective, so the truck the town bought, our engine one that we bought, we ordered in 2021 and, you know, signed into a contract for $625,000. We took delivery of that truck 2 years later in 23. And I asked the vendor at that time, if we were to order that truck today, what would it cost? And threw a number like 750, 775. So here we are 2 years later. And I asked the vendor, okay, so it's 700,000 for a midi pumper. What would it cost if we ordered our new engine one today? 1.1 to 1.2 million dollars. You know, that's those numbers are concerning to say the least. Certainly not sustainable. Don't know. I don't have any answers for it. All I can say is that we, the town of Bristol, are certainly ahead of the game. As you all have been supportive of capital and equipment plans, capital vehicle plans, but still, those numbers are just almost seem unobtainable and not a good use of tax dollars. Again, I don't know what the answer is. I'm extremely frustrated with these numbers. You guys aren't saying anything. I can't see all your expressions. I'm sure it's concerning to you as well. Just because what's it going to be like in 2 years from now? You know,
Better start adding more money to the capital funds.
it's just, I don't know, Michelle. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain.
Well, it's better to add a little at a time than to
It is, and that's what we've been doing.
Right.
And we've been doing that, and you guys have been supportive of that, you know, and I know there's so many outstanding projects in town, you know, there's other priorities, you know, and I'd love to have that conversation with you all during, you know, budget season. But I would put it out there just to kind of make you guys aware, like the current environment we're in when it comes to emergency vehicles. And it's kind of demoralizing. So, but yeah, those are my updates for you all. You know, I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Brad.
That's the reason you're looking at used vehicles is because of the exorbitant price of the new ones.
Yeah. You know, there's dealers out there that deal in used emergency vehicles. You know, they certify them. They bring them up to date if they need to be. But I know one of our partners right here in Addison County, you know, the city of Virgins, they bought a couple of vehicles in the last few years through a used vendor, and they're actually getting ready to or already have placed an order for another used vehicle. So there's always risk with a used vehicle, but certainly always worth exploring all of our options. So that's what we're doing.
Okay. Any questions for Brett? Alrighty, thank you, Brett.
You got it.
Water and sewer, Jill.
Hey, how are you guys? Well, I think the big news of the day is that we ranked the 4th highest score on the fiscal year 2025 Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund. So we had 195 points, only 3 projects scored higher. So the good news is we're eligible for funding. The bad news is we don't know what the eligibility for subsidy is. So we've basically just assumed worst case scenario until the Basically until we finish the project and they finalize all of our funding, it's all dependent upon what the median household income is for the state of Vermont and what the median household income is for our income sensitive area that they call Bristol CDP. So that one answer we won't have.
Until we spend the money.
Yeah, so we just have to assume that it's 30 years at 2% for planning purposes. And if it's better, just be delighted, is where I just want you guys to kind of set your sights so that you don't feel totally bummed like we were last time.
Lower our expectations on Jill.
Well, I mean, set the expectation at 30 years with a 2% interest rate that they call an admin fee. And then if perchance anything better happens, we'll just be delighted. So that's kind of the good news is we're eligible for the funding. If we weren't, we'd be looking for funding, which, you know, bank loans are quite a bit higher, even municipal ones. So it's good news. It means we can keep moving as long as you choose to proceed to apply for the funding. So this step was saying, are we allowed to get the funding? We made it through what's called the P list, and now we apply for the loan. So Greg will be working with Steve and myself to finish the step 3 loan request, which is
Yep.
important. You want to have that approved so that when you put your project out to bid and you have step 3 costs, that your loan is in place so you can receive reimbursements back. And I think the other thing that I want to just encourage you guys and kind of set the expectation both from like select board support and to support your administrative staff is that it's going to be super important to do monthly reimbursement request to this program since it's such a large project. It's almost $4 million. So as the project goes out to bid, the bids come in kind of like through the winter and then all of a sudden it gets awarded and they're doing like their first pay requests and they're buying stored materials for a 2-year project. The pay requests are going to be big and that cash flow is going to start to feel like pretty demanding. So I think we're in October now to know that that could be like April of next year that you could start having kind of a big bill coming in to know that you might need interim financing. And that you're going to want to have a really good process in place for your reimbursement requests. And I'm happy to help you formulate that if you don't have that already in the office or there isn't another support person helping you with that.
Thank you, Jill.
Yep. So that's kind of the big piece. The service line inventory that we did, I think we finished it like October-ish of last year. The state is asking us to send letters out to all of the unknowns and the potential galvanize requiring replacement and the leads by a particular date in November. So you are going to see a mailing going out kind of like by the end of November about that. And I think we'll kind of attach to that another attempt to try to get the unknowns identified in our 2 project areas, that being Bristol West, which would be starting construction next year, and Bristol East that could start construction in a couple years since we're going to be mailing something out. It makes sense to try to say, we don't know what you have. Let's talk.
Do you say you don't know what you have, and if you don't tell us, we're shutting your water off?
Well, I mean, there is a lot of language in the new ordinance that could help with that. It's more that the way that the new lead and copper rule's been written, it puts a lot of onus on the water system when the water system replaces our side of the service line, if the customer side doesn't get replaced, we're supposed to take samples from inside their house on a very regular basis. And that's like a lot of time and money. And we don't want that. So we're going to have to do more discovery and more support to really encourage people to replace those water lines. And I think the really huge step was approving the CTS to make it more affordable. And, you know, maybe there's a future step wherein there's some type of, we could do sticks, we could do carrots, right? The carrots are going to kind of reward them for doing a particular behavior, wherein maybe we could offer some small portion of money from the water department to do that replacement, or maybe we could extend out the town's SRF program that you guys have, your revolving loan program. It's I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking it's month 10 now. All of a sudden it's going to be month 4 of next year. And then they're going to start, the service line replacements won't happen until after the mains are in. So I guess I need to talk sequencing a tiny bit with Steve to understand if the contractor is going to go for 2 years and put mains in everywhere and then connect everything at the end of the 2, or if they're going to do one road at a time and connect it live. When we did Pine Street, they did the street all the way down with the main, and right towards the end, I did all the service lines. So I'm not quite sure how that will be sequenced, but it'll make a big difference on how it impacts the town of Bristol's water department and the requirements we may be impacted with because of the other side of the service lines that are not considered appropriate material.
I would assume they'll do it street by street so that they can test it and get it up. I wouldn't think they'd want to leave that whole line untested for 2 years.
Yeah, and I just have to assume because I don't know which contractor will get low bid. I don't know how they're going to want to sequence their schedule. I don't know which roads they're going to do first.
Is there anything on official state letterhead as far as saying what these lines have to be that we could send with our notification to maybe try to scare people into?
Yeah.
What the lines need to be? I mean,
Or the program, the replacement program. I mean, the reason why we did the inventory, that there is material there at the state level, like there are.
and it's been sent, like, every time we send them the documentation from the state, it's got the like scare language in it. It definitely does. It's like, that's really dangerous. It's going to do these really bad things to your child's brain. So I mean, it's that people don't like to read. It's like the first rule is that like maybe like 2 to 10% of humans actually like to read. The other 90% really don't like it at all. So it's hard that our method of delivering this communication continues to be printed material.
Can you do a graphic, Bill?
I mean, we could try to do an infographic because that maybe the picture would speak to somebody a little bit more. I mean, it's like, how do you do? I'm not a cartoonist, but like, do you show a child that's like struggling in the cartoon because they just kept drinking lead in their water?
Or we do a TikTok video.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of, I think it sounds wild, but I kind of think that the people we haven't reached, it's just because they don't want to read the material. It doesn't appeal to them, and it's not connecting. It's not because they're like, haha, I'm being really sneaky. They just aren't connecting with it. It's just the messaging isn't working.
Can we maybe have we tried like our disconnect notice, sending it on a red piece of paper?
Oh, could change the color of the paper. We could do that.
It needs to be something that catches their attention so that they read it, so that we get the answers we need.
I mean, we only, looking at the map, in terms of Bristol West, we have 18 unknowns currently. We can probably knock a couple of those off if I just show you the map and you're gonna tell me, nope, that's, I know what that is. So it could be down, but let's say we have 18 right now, which isn't a huge amount. I feel like we should be able to get the attention. I mean, the graphics were there when you did the inventory. A lot of thought went into that, and I think there was a huge response. It's just right now, there are those stragglers.
It's like that last 10% that are just kind of like, meh, no. And it could be that many of them are rented units and people just aren't associating, what the heck does this have to do with me?
Yeah, but I think we can work with the state language and get some graphics in there. I think a combination of what was described tonight, sort of the different color paper, just to bring people's attention.
How many are we talking about?
Well,
18 and when?
I mean, there were boots on the ground, but, Jill's visited each of these people, and it was the last where they just didn't respond. But I think we just need to go through the list, get some more eyeballs on it.
We summoned the bill.
Yeah, right.
The bill.
There was like four plus attempts at every single location on Bristol West. So it's like, these people they just aren't interested. It's been hung on the door. The door's been knocked on. They've received several different mailers. It's definitely been on Front Porch Forum. It's definitely been put on the website. So it's really just, yeah, I mean,
some of them think it's gonna cost them something. They just want to ignore it.
yeah, the problem is that it's gonna cost people whatever it's gonna cost because it's unavoidable, because the new line on the other side's coming in and it's like, there's no like skipping there being some type of requirement to replace it. And I know a lot of people can't afford it, and I'm pretty sensitive to that, so.
Yeah, and we've got some ideas about, you know, how to make that work for property owners. I had a question for you. So we have 18 unknowns that we're gonna work through. We've got one lead that's in the west, and we have 40 galvanized iron/steel. The galvanized iron/steel, looking at the documentation, it talks about if it needs to be replaced, the 40 that we have in there, have they all been identified as need to be replaced, or is there continual testing to definitively say these 40 need to be replaced?
Here's the information I don't have to be able to qualify it as not having to be replaced. I have to be able to say with like 100% accuracy that there was never a lead gooseneck on that service line. I
Okay,
don't know if there was or not. I don't think I'm ever gonna see the gooseneck, because the contractor that comes in is gonna put a new water main in. The new service line is gonna tap into the new main, and I'm never gonna see where the tap is on that old main. So I
If you-
can't,
Gonna be problems.
I know, you don't unbed a water line when it's actively in use, so it's like, I can't certify that there was never a lead gooseneck on their water line, ever.
so what this,
I can't say there was either, but I can't say there wasn't, so I'm told I'm not allowed to certify that it never was.
looking at the state's language, they recommend doing multiple rounds of testing. Are we going to explore that, or are we just gonna say, we're not gonna take that direction and we're just gonna ask that these be replaced?
Well, if they won't let us in to see what's there.
No, those are the ones that we know.
These are the ones that have let us in. They've either provided the documentation with the pictures and all the words, or they let us into their dwelling and we went in and we tested the materials. There could be sequential water sampling done. I don't know whose expense that would be. That might be, I mean, a lead and copper is $25, and if it was sequential and you were having to do, I don't know, 8 of them, that's $200 of water testing at each residence. And I don't know. In my personal opinion, seeing the galvanized lines that exist in Bristol and having replaced several of them, they're not in good shape.
Absolutely not.
No, most of them are necked right down. They're filled with minerals, and a lot of them are also leaking. So I don't think it would be in the best interest of the water system to just kind of not continue to encourage and try to find some way to support the replacements.
Okay.
And we should know, we will know when we go to hook onto them.
Oh, you
But-
bet. You bet. When they get down to the curb and they see what's on the what's on the customer side, they're gonna know what they're hooking. They have to hook to what's there.
Well, they don't have to hook to what's there. That's the issue.
You're right. They could say, that's galvanized. I'm not attaching this curb.
That's when the homeowner has to be reactive instead of proactive, and that's where the problem's gonna come in, because we're not gonna hook to something we're not supposed to.
Because
we-
that's just gonna turn into a big mess.
Yeah,
And maybe that's where, you were talking about the testing, who's gonna be responsible for it. Maybe that's one of those things you put in a letter to them saying, if it goes to this, then you're gonna be responsible for the payment of all that testing. And that's gonna be part of your bill. I mean, I don't know. How you scare them into doing it.
And I'm trying not to be cruel with it, because it is a whole lot all at once for a lot of people. And I know that the intention of it is good, but like we're hearing about the water rates going up and the cost of the fire truck being 1.2 million and the loaf of bread being $8. And I just kind of am going, okay, whoa, it's all at once. So if I do think there was some type of additional funding source that maybe Ian and Greg and I received a week or two ago that I'm unfamiliar with. That might be a possibility as well, that I just am not familiar with it.
I mean, we have to do a cost analysis in terms of what the testing would reveal. I think we would have to definitively say, like, is it worth us doing the testing to reduce the number of lines we have to replace down to a lower amount? You know, if you feel most of the lines that you see out of that 40 should be replaced, then we go that direction. Or if we're not sure, and testing would reveal that only 20 of them need to be replaced, you know, that's saving a lot of money than replacing those lines. But it is more time and involvement in terms of doing that testing, but I do think that's a we should look at.
Well, what's the likelihood, Ian, given what we know? I mean, the likelihood of all of those lines not being galvanized or,
No, the likelihood is that they don't have any lead in them.
yeah.
And that the
Cop-
testing, because our lead and copper results are very good. We don't have high lead or copper in our water system.
Okay. I guess we'll just have to eyes on those 40 just to sort of see if maybe we can knock a few out that we know are different or are newer, and then maybe reduce that number. I mean, because that benefits not just the homeowner, but it benefits us because it's a huge amount of work to replace every one of those lines before we, you know, can connect up to it with our new water. So it's, you know, big thing to do.
Well, they could change those lines ahead of time and
That's true.
connect to the,
And I think we should really encourage that if we can.
I think it'd be fantastic if 30 out of the 40 replaced their water lines ahead of it and we were down to just 10, then maybe we test those 10. I mean, maybe it's kind of like a
Yeah.
order of operations, like can we get people to do the replacements, especially people with like a short line where it's not a whole lot of digging, you know, it's like not like a 1,000-foot long line where there's days of digging. It's just like a little 50 feet.
I guess I'm confused. Why would we test a line that we know is galvanized?
Because the thing is, they're making us replace them because they're telling us that they think there's deposits of lead inside the galvanized line. And
Yeah.
it could also be that galvanized has lead in it.
Galvanized line is junk.
I know it's junk. It's totally junk. They're full of minerals and they're old, and if you touch them, they break.
I mean, also we could just take that direction. I mean, at the state, it's called GRR, whether it's galvanized replacement, whatever the next.
Requiring replacement.
So it's like they're saying like they're hedging their bets in terms of like, you may not need to replace this, but we would have to make a decision if we think that the 40 galvanized lines that are in the ground here are way older than they need to be and should be replaced, we could take that approach. And not do testing.
We haven't used galvanized
Yeah,
in the last 50
yeah,
years.
so that's
I
maybe,
mean,
that's maybe the reason.
that would be argument enough for me to say that
Yeah.
they,
Yeah, and maybe that's.
it's not good.
Yeah, and maybe that's what we do. And we just say, nope, these all need to be replaced. Like, I guess a homeowner could say, could you test it? But I think we would probably encourage them to replace it, knowing that it's gonna future-proof their property.
I mean, or if they want to test it, it's their.
Right. Yes,
I mean, if they want to go through all the process of testing and having conclusive results on their nickel, that's on them. I'd rather see.
But then when we dig it up and it's not something we can hitch to on the other end, they paid for testing for nothing. So I would lean towards figuring out a program where we can change them. Whether we come up with a way to loan them the money or subsidize or however we do it.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
because
just,
10% of the system, if we look at it as just kind of a percentage of connections.
and I know Joel wanted to roll it right into the whole thing and just have all the users pay for it. And I don't think that's fair to the people who have gone and changed theirs or the newer lines that have gone in. I just don't.
It's also the liability. We don't wanna do that. Like, we can facilitate working on getting, 60 homes replace their lines with a contractor, but it has to be something that they're doing.
Yeah.
It's outside what we're doing.
Yeah, it's also when we looked at it, it had to go through the whole state program, which meant full engineering and legal easements, and it made the project 2 to 3 times more expensive to get a 50% subsidy. So it didn't make any sense to then pay 2% interest for 30 years. It just made it way more expensive.
Okay,
Yep. So the last thing is we are in the countdown to winterization. So you are going to see hydrants being winterized probably towards the end of month 10, and water getting shut off in a couple different places, and we will get the blow off down at the end of Rockydale downsized a bit on the tip. We just have to figure out if sergeants can lower us down into that bank.
That ought to be fun.
I don't know. I know the boom trucks go up. I don't know if they go down. So we have to see if we can do reverse engineering with that thing.
Okay.
Thanks.
I do have a question. The meter that we sell water with,
Oh, it doesn't work anymore.
okay, because my concern is where it is.
Yeah, I need to grab it. I did hear from Kevin and I said, oh my God, I didn't grab it. Yes, I need to grab that. It doesn't work. It needs a new meter and all the pieces work, but the meter doesn't spin accurately.
I
So,
just, for the cost of a meter to have it sitting out on the sidewalks, not.
yes,
Not-
I will go grab that first thing tomorrow. I had a conversation this afternoon regarding other things and went, oh my God.
Awesome.
I kept having to set it up every 2 days. So I had left it there and then I had to repair the hydrant and then I totally forgot to grab it again. Sorry.
Okay,
Super. Thanks, Joe.
alrighty, moving on to consent agenda.
Speaker.
Yes.
And I forgot to mention to you guys, paving is coming in this week. So Lower Meadow Lane, Devon Lane, and Mount Street Extension will all be paved this week as well as a shim on Moncton Road up by Zach's.
Mhm.
That stretch that we didn't do in the middle, that's gonna get a shim as well. So I just wanted to mention that. I know paving will be done this week.
Perfect. All right, consent agenda. Certificate of adoption of local hazard mitigation plan. Consideration of work in the right of way and access permit for 24 Garfield Street. Approval of past meeting minutes. 9/22/25, authorization of warrants and liquor and tobacco license. So.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Again,
We have a motion and a second, so certification adoption of local hazardous mitigation plan. Just what it is, what it is.
Yeah. And there'll be a presentation, I think, later to work with Michael.
Yep.
To sort of bring that back to us to go through that in detail.
Okay, Garfield Street work in the right of way and access permit.
You wanna mention that?
Are there questions? It's
Just a,
someone wants to put a new driveway in. Right now, it's gonna be used pretty sparingly, but I think in the future, they would hope to actually like make it a driveway, so they're getting a permit now, so they can work on it.
okay.
Minutes are all set. We've got comments
Minutes
from
are all
Josh.
set, and any liquor or tobacco?
No.
And the warrants are $190,016.73. All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda as read, signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Regular business. Update on Act 181.
Yay,
Yeah.
yay,
AZ, you're up.
yay.
Okay.
I'm gonna stand in the middle. That's alright.
Hang on.
Or I will go get my computer.
No, it's just Zoom, not even see it for some reason.
Okay.
You have to say slide, or else you don't.
Oh, alright, fly.
You say how you see it, slide.
Just fly.
Alright, let's get this. There we go, look at that.
Um,
Oh, go away. Do that.
Jessica, this is gonna be a lot of a refresher for you because we were at that presentation together.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so Act 181, it was enacted in June of 2024. Just gonna take a step back first, slide.
Uh-oh, hold on.
You had one job.
Oh, nope, yeah.
Got it.
So before Act 181 was passed, we had the Home Act of 2023. And part of this act was it created temporary Act 250 exemptions around downtown areas or village centers. So in Bristol, we have our downtown designated district. And that's a half-mile radius around that. In that half-mile radius, there are, depending on the type of buffer, or different housing exemptions. For Bristol, it's priority housing. So if you're building up to 20 units of affordable housing, you're exempt from Act 250. And this exemption is already there, it's existing, and it will continue until December of 2026. Or July of 2027, depending on the exemption. So that's what's already in place, Act 250 exemptions, they're temporary. And then Act 181 comes in and, as I mentioned, it was passed and enacted in June of 2024. And the biggest part about this act is that it's an Act 250 reform bill. That's one of the major changes that it pushed through. On top of that, there are some changes to how regional plans are drafted, some changes to regional planning responsibilities. And it standardizes the planning maps across the state. So instead of a collection of different land use categories used by different counties and municipalities, now each regional plan has the same standard for mapping, which makes things a lot more cohesive for long-term planning and a lot easier to work with your neighboring towns. There's also changes to the planning frameworks and the creation of the land use review board instead of, and they will be in charge of Act 250 essentially. There are also some new changes to zoning regulations. Most of them do not apply to Bristol as you have to have both municipal water and wastewater. And those changes are basically making it so duplexes, triplexes, and quadplexes, or any other plexes outside of that, are treated the same as single family residences. Again, that's not the same, it's not true for Bristol because you have to have both water and wastewater. Parking was another zoning change. It's now standardized that it's a 9 by 18 parking space. Some other changes to some prohibited effects on zoning, but mostly it's an Act 250 reform bill. So looking at Addison counties, let's just taking a bigger look at it. Start again. This is Addison County, all using the same land use categories. There are 10 land use categories. The dark green is the conservation, and that is areas of forest blocks, known wetlands, significant natural resources that are known. That's gonna be the conservation, and then that kind of teal area is the rural agriculture. And that's more of that's where current use is, maybe it's forested, it's being used as cropland. And then the areas of pink, dark purple, light pink, lighter pink, and gold are more your developed areas. If you go on to the next slide, we'll talk about Bristol. So currently we have 3 land use categories in our future land use map. We have our downtown area, which we have based our planning districts on. We have our conservation, our rural planning, and our downtown planning area, which would be the orange. And then the new draft future land use map for Bristol would be this map here, which has a little bit more diversity in the land use categories. You can also see that the planned growth area around our village is slightly bigger. And then we have a lot of Bristol's in current. So you'll see that reflected in the large amount of teal. We have 2 enterprise areas. Enterprise areas are considered your commercial development. Right now they're mapped where the Lathrop Mill is and the gravel pit to the south. And then the gold is the rural general, that's kind of, where you have areas of pockets of development. But not areas where you're looking to significantly, encourage development. If you go to the next slide, you can see a comparison of, a close look at the downtown area here. On the left is the current future land use maps. And on the right is the draft future land use map. I will note that the planning commission has already reviewed these maps and given their feedback. The map on the right is on an updated, draft. The planning commission requested that the boundary of our conservation district be reflected in the future land use maps. So the only difference that really makes is that the two parcels on the east of the downtown area that stick into the teal are going to be split into pink and teal. That was the planning commission's request and their only feedback on the map. It's definitely an increase, and what this is the planned growth area, and then you can see our downtown village area. They're slightly bigger than before, and also now have the downtown center, which is our core area, and a little bit bigger than what our downtown designation district was. And then our planned growth area is a little bit bigger, it extends further to the west, right along to South 116 in Berkeley, and a little further past Plank. For the mapping of these, they did map it to parcels instead of with our current future land use maps, it arbitrarily cuts through some parcels. So they really tried to map it to a parcel and have that entire parcel, if it fits in an area, be mapped. And not only did Act 181 standardize the mapping methodologies, as I mentioned, it's an Act 250 reform bill. So these maps now also, areas of planned growth or downtown centers are now areas of Act 250 exemptions. I'll speak a little bit more on that.
Question for you,
Yes,
does this replace our current districts?
zoning districts or our planning districts?
Well, I guess, looking at these, I guess it's a mix, right? So we have our zoning districts that will
Mhm.
remain the same, but this is like an overlay on top of those for our planning, is that how?
This is the regional plans plan.
Okay,
So, our local planning, like our planning areas, the rural, our village, our like downtown or village planning area and our conservation areas
Yeah.
are still in effect. When we go to update our comp plan, definitely something to look at would be the
Okay.
regional plan and the state plan.
alright, so we would look to that if we
Yeah.
want to change and update our own
Correct,
districts.
but we don't necessarily, we would have to.
Yeah,
It's just, again, a planning document for long-term planning, it's not you must, now that you have a bigger downtown center.
yes.
Create a bigger downtown center for your own local plans, it's.
And my second question, for the downtown center, that's quite a bit larger than our current
Mhm,
district is.
mhm.
You know the reasons for that?
It's based on density and areas that are along urbanized routes, so. If our downtown core, I mean, our downtown district includes only like the village
Yeah.
businesses, so now this includes the library.
Yeah.
The town green, like more.
I mean, I think it's a good thing. A lot of towns.
Yeah.
We're a very small district compared to a lot of towns
Yeah.
around who have designations, so
Yeah.
I think it's a very good thing.
So it's expanding our downtown designation district a little bit, but it's still within our core village.
Yeah.
Higher densities, our mixed use areas, our connectivity areas. And like I said, Act 250 was reformed, and the biggest change was previously Act 250 had always been project based. And Act 181 changes that from a project based jurisdiction to location based.
Yeah.
And that's where these maps come in. So if you go to the next slide.
Hey, AC, I have a quick question. Does this, or two quick questions, does this limit us in any way of what they're doing? And then I know when we talked about this with Addison County Regional Planning, we were talking about Livingston's down at the Four Corners there. But I see they only got like the east side of 116 in that land growth group and not the opposite side where there is
Yeah.
some commercial in that.
So that, your first question, would it limit your?
Yeah,
your
does it
question?
limit that, does their planning area limit us and anything we want to do with zoning or planning?
No, it opens up so much more options.
Yeah.
And for if you go back to the maps again.
Sure.
So the planned growth area kind of stops at that Berkeley Road.
Yeah,
And the planning commission didn't ask for any edits, but you all have the ability to say, hey, actually, we wanna expand our planned growth area. I think it would be a good idea, but it is up to you. Currently, the zoning in that district is rural agricultural 5, commercial 1. So local zoning is still in play. And again, these are planning documents, so looking long term. They do not change local zoning or local zoning districts. They're just saying, hey, this is an area where we want to see growth in the future. And depending, so does that answer your question, Michelle?
yeah,
Right. Yeah, it does not limit, it actually opens up so much. And the opening of that is the Act 250 exemptions, which, next slide. Act 250 is now based on 3 tiers, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 2 is status quo, so that's gonna be the gold areas, that light teal, your hamlets, anything that isn't a planned growth area, downtown village, village center, downtown center, pardon, or I'm missing one. I'm missing one that also includes into that, tier 1.
This is a quiz for you, Jessica. You're supposed to know which one she's missing.
Yeah, were you paying attention, Jessica? Tier 2's Act 250 is still status quo. It's if you're doing more than 10 units, if you're developing more than a certain amount of acreage, you have to go through Act 250. Tier 3 is still in the works. It's the responsibility of the land use review board to create the rules and the jurisdictions for this area. But tier 3 is really trying to protect our natural resources. They're looking at increasing the jurisdiction, so looking at headwaters, high elevations, significant areas of natural importance. But then tier 1 is where we get into, we want development here, we need development here. And it's broken into two sub tiers, tier 1A and tier 1B. Tier 1A would be for the Burlingtons, the South Burlington, Chittenden County. They're all gonna be aiming for tier 1A because it's a full Act 250 exemption. Development in those areas no longer need to go through Act 250. And those towns and cities have the capacity and the zoning regulations and the planning to take on the responsibility of what Act 250 was doing, which is protecting our environment. Most other places, including Bristol, would qualify for tier 1B. And this opens up exemptions up to 50 units of housing. And they would be Act 250 exempt if you're building up to 50 units of housing. And that would be in your planned growth area and in your downtown centers. So if we, and the big thing is to be in tier 1A or tier 1B, you have to opt in. It's the municipality's choice to opt in or not. If you
Per
don't,
project? Or for the entire?
for the whole thing, if you say, I wanna be in tier 1B, you are saying anything in the planned growth area and the downtown center are getting that exemption. If you don't opt in, it stays Act 250 as status quo.
That's a pretty important thing for us, I think, we want to encourage it.
And a big reason why I really think that the town should opt in to tier 1B is because we need housing. And if you go to the next slide, I'll show you why. Housing targets recently came out from the, most recent, Vermont Housing Needs Assessment. And these are from the Regional Planning Commission. On the left are housing targets for 2025 to 2030. Bristol is, projected to need 192 new units of housing within the next 5 years to stay on top of, the demand for housing, to keep our, to keep everything functioning essentially. And I do wanna make an important note that, housing unit is, we're not just talking about single family homes. It's housing units, so accessory dwelling units, multi-unit housing, duplexes, really anything that the housing unit as defined from the Census Bureau here. We're looking to increase those. And a lot of these are encouraged to be in your village centers. And by 2025, we're looking at 715 new units. I will note that these are goals, they're not mandated. If we don't build 192 new houses by 2030, we're not gonna get in trouble. What is mandated though, is that we have to include these housing targets in our town plan. And we have to set up goals on how we're going to achieve this, or how we're going to attempt to. That is what is mandated. It's not mandated that we reach these targets, it's mandated that we recognize that they are there and that we are working towards them. And jumping a little bit further into housing, I wanna take a look at what we currently have. So for housing stock, this is from the Vermont housing data. On the left is Vermont, and on the right Bristol. As we know, it's mostly owner occupied housing, single family homes, are the majority. We have some renter households, the seasonal and vacant home data from this, for Bristol is, not super reliable because they just don't have enough, data to pull and have it be accurate. But, we can see that we have a lot of owner households, and mostly of those are single family. And then if you go to housing type, which is the next one, again, looking at Vermont, which is Bristol. On the left would be the type of housing, so again, single family housing is the biggest type of owner occupied housing. Renters are majorly staying in multifamily, it's. But in Bristol, the difference between Vermont is quite stark, where we have most of our renters in multifamily housing. And then most of our owners in single family dwellings. So just keeping these numbers in mind as we start thinking about housing targets, looking at. The exemptions of Act 181 of saying up to 50 units of housing, you don't need to go through Act 250. How can we improve these numbers so we can get more housing units in our town? Next slide, please. In order to opt into tier 1Bs, there are certain requirements. The green means good, we already did it, yay. We have a confirmed town plan, we have zoning and subdivision bylaws. We have, the flood hazard areas are excluded from our planned growth area because we don't wanna grow where the river is gonna flood it. And a requirement is that you either have municipal wastewater or municipal water, wastewater, and if you don't have wastewater, you need to have soils that are adequate for septic systems, and Bristol is very fortunate to have a lot of soil that is adequate. And the last requirement is that you need to have adequate staff. And I'm the adequate staff.
I'd say you're more than adequate.
Yes, I appreciate that, yes. The last step would be the select board needs to sign a resolution, that goes, to the land use review board. And basically certifies that we have all these things, we want to be into this exemption, into this tier 1B. And that's the final step, it's a 1-page form. I don't have it with me, so. Time to think about it, and you go to the next slide. I wanna give you time to think about it because there's a lot of stuff to think about. Our town plan is expiring in 2028, as you know. And some big questions that need to be asked are. Where do we want development to happen? And what kind of development do we want to happen in this town? What do we wanna encourage? What do we want to maybe shy away from? And then something that I didn't fully touch on, but the state designation program, where it used to have 5 different designations, has dropped down to 2. And so it has simplified that process. Instead of having to annually reapply to get your designation. It's a, once you have it, you have it. Bristol is fortunate to be, it's a legacy designation, so once this switches over, we are gonna be a downtown designation, step 3, which, is all the funding opportunities, all the incentives, all the benefits that we currently have, and a couple new ones. We have access to those and will be automatically taken into the, highest tier of the downtown designation program.
Great.
And then also just, touching on some grant opportunities, I'll be applying, I'm working with Rita to apply for the municipal planning grant. And there's a long-term planning grant called the Better Connections Grant that looks at like long-term master planning for municipalities, and it would
Yeah.
be a huge boon.
And you've applied for that, I think.
Not yet, I need to
Okay.
talk with Greg and Chris and Frida and
Okay. Well, we've approved the ability to apply for that, so.
for the municipal planning grant.
Yeah.
But I don't think for the.
Oh, not for the Better
Connections,
Connection.
Not
Okay.
yet, no, but municipal planning grant, yes, I'm working on that with Frida, that'll be really helpful for working on our town plan. And the Better Connections would be supplemental for like long-term planning.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Yes.
So you've got the tier A and B. Is there any reason why we would consider A, or are we not eligible?
We're not eligible for,
Doesn't matter.
We're
because,
not gonna do enough volume.
yeah,
Right.
also,
Okay.
I'm adequate for tier 1B, I am not adequate for tier
That's okay.
1A. Yeah,
You're lucky where you're at.
yeah.
Alright, I just
Yeah,
want.
tier 1A is for, it's for the Burlington and Brattleboro, like, it's for towns that have the capacity and also are already seeing like really big development. Burlington doesn't need Act 250,
No,
they need housing
Yeah,
desperately,
okay.
also
so-
most of those cities you just mentioned aren't even large enough to potentially facilitate 1A anyway, to be honest with you.
yeah,
So.
Yeah,
1B
yes.
is fine.
yeah, 1B is
Sure.
where we wanna be,
No, I didn't know if that limited us in any way. Okay.
no,
No, you can still go through Act 250 if you want more.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, okay.
if someone came in and was like, I wanna build
Yeah.
75 units of housing, first question I would say is where? And how are you gonna get a septic system for that?
Yeah.
But
You
the
can do-
second one.
You can do 2 different projects at 40 though.
True,
Mm,
true, true.
fantastic. Any more slides?
Just one more, and it's the questions, comments, concerns. Oh, and so this was a preface to, I wanted to talk to y'all and give my perspective on it, give my recommendation that we opt in. But there is a meeting with Adam Luigi on October 16th to discuss Act 181 more and tier 1B in further detail. And I highly recommend that you all attend that, even though it's probably gonna be a lot of the same information here. It is. It is, I think, an opportunity to ask more direct questions to Adam, who's the executive director for the Regional Planning Commission. And we'll have some more answers on similar the detailed information. That's my presentation. Sure.
And he'll remember the fourth thing.
And he'll remember the 4th thing that I am surprised I forgot.
That was great. Thank you very much.
Village area, that's what it was. Jessica, come on.
Yeah, Jessica and I are down. Well, I've RSVP'd, I believe Jessica has as well for the October 16th meeting.
Great.
But yeah, I think if all of us can attend, that's useful.
Yeah.
And people's schedules are busy. But that was great. Thank you, AC.
Really think y'all should do it.
Yes.
There's, yeah, any questions though?
Is there a deadline when we need to have it submitted by?
So the resolution needs to be done by December 2025, or you can hold off until, when was it? Or you can postpone until after the regional plan is approved. But I don't see any reason why to postpone, I think the deadline should be December. Just as a personal deadline,
If the board was in agreement with this, we could put it on next meeting's agenda just for consent. That would be after the meeting on the 16th.
Sounds
I
good.
need to double check with Adam, because I think for signing the resolution, I was looking at it and there was something about a duly authorized public hearing,
Ah,
so
Alright,
just
you
wanna double
tell
check
us
that we're missing
when to
any-
put it up.
Yeah,
Okay,
but even if it has to be warned, it'll be on too.
okay, perfect.
It'll have to be soon, because if it has to be warned, there's,
Yeah,
Only a limited amount of time.
yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
and December's fast approaching.
Yes.
yes, but I'll work on that tomorrow. And
Awesome.
also,
Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you.
yeah,
Do you have anything else? Or are you gonna, you can pop up, right?
I don't have anything else that's on the agenda, and I will not bring anything that's not on the agenda to your time at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good-
He has. Yes, a long list.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Water commissioners, consider approval of new water service connection on North Street.
Jill sent the details out this afternoon about that connection. Seems like there's no concerns about that, you know, that you're involved with that.
James is on as well.
Oh,
He's
James is on as
the,
well.
he's the brains of the
These
operation.
brains. You're the brawn. So then, there you go.
I
Hey, Jen.
couldn't see where the parcel was when I tried to look it up. Could somebody just tell me where the parcel is on North Street?
Just
After Plank Road, heading north.
After
Yeah.
Plank Road. Okay. Thanks,
The-
Chris.
Also,
Houses.
the application didn't specify what materials you wanted to use on the customer side.
it didn't ask.
Copper all
Okay,
No. Plastic.
okay, I kind of assumed, but I provided an approval for either.
Awesome. And I take it that Kevin got a hold of you.
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't,
yes,
I
I
didn't,
sent it and I included it.
I wasn't gonna have the answers you needed, so I called him and had him call you.
Yeah, he said he would make the adjustment to the state records that it's 3/4 and then it's copper on the town side and CTS on the customer side, and that way, you know, pretty much like the record drawing for the wastewater and water permit will be accurate to what's in the ground.
I guess now he can no longer submit a letter. He has to submit a letter requesting approval, their approval. So everything can be done at the end.
Really? They have to approve that he's doing a record drawing?
He used to be able to do the septic inspection and
Right.
approve it. Now he has to submit a letter to the state and they have to approve it. Which,
It's funny
And-
because they're not the ones with the license.
So they approve it, they approve him approving it.
exactly.
Got it.
That always drives me crazy. They do that with engineering plans. So you hire a professional engineer to design your project, and then an administrative person at the state has to review it to approve their engineering that they have the insurance and the license for. It's wild,
Bureaucracy.
wild. Yeah, it looks pretty straightforward to me. It's a little more involved than some of the last applications, being that it's on the opposite side of the road. It's actually taps. And the other, I don't remember if I put it in the conditions, but just one of the standards is that the taps need to be a minimum of 18 inches apart. So just to know that as you're digging the hole in the pavement, under the pavement, shall we say, that they need to be 18 inches apart.
It'll be good. I'm gonna test your abilities because there's 3-4 inch lines there and I'm gonna make sure you pick the right one first.
There is a lot going on there, and I kind of wondered where you wanted to cut in.
Really want to where we have to because I have to cross the fiber optic there, but it is what it is.
Ooh.
Is this the house that James is building? For some-
Yes.
Okay,
The one on North Street.
okay. I was just trying to place it.
Yeah, and they're also putting in a second line for the lot in the front, just in case at some point they want to build there so that they don't have to cut the road open another time.
Would you have something to say?
I'd entertain a motion.
Oh, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the application with Jill's recommendations.
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Yay.
Speaker, before you start, Ian, do we have about 10-15 minutes left so I can call Kevin to have him be here? Okay,
Yeah, let them know now.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Consideration of authorization to hire an administrative assistant, an administrator's assistant.
Administration assistant, it's a tip. Okay.
Yeah, we're severely shorthanded at the front of the house and Sharon's overwhelmed. And so this position was previously filled and person left, and we just rolled in the responsibilities of anyone else to someone else. So looking to draw those back out and improve some efficiencies. Be a part-time position. Really just kind of getting us caught back up, fidelity wise, and we'll go from there.
Do we have a job description?
Yeah.
Do we know where the budgeted money's coming from?
We have plenty of room left in, we actually over budgeted personnels. So there's money there.
Okay.
And we're looking at probably, what did you say, Chris, 16 hours?
Yeah, I think so, we talked about roughly.
Roughly around that at like 20.
So it won't be anybody that bumps into benefits or beamers or any of that stuff?
No, sir.
No.
And is this, are you thinking about this as like a position moving forward, or is this just let's get this backlog done and then we'll see how we're doing, or what are you thinking about?
This position needs to stay permanent. Sharon can speak more to that. But it was, if she would like, she wouldn't have to. She can, I'm getting a look over here. I got it from here.
She's hidden on the owl. We can't see her or her looks.
I guess my question along with Jessica's, are you thinking this, okay, it's 16 hours now, are you looking at maybe in the future it might go up to a full-time position?
Yeah, when I leave.
You're not allowed.
Yeah, never.
I don't think she agrees with that.
Well, I didn't know if like, was Gail's plan to retire soon? So once Gail decides she's done, that this person would take over both the rest of Gail's hours and become a full-time position.
This time when I leave, Gail plans to leave.
Okay, so then we have two people.
Can you elaborate just a little bit more about when you think your time is up?
I don't know because, let's see, just under 2 years for my appointment right now. I'll be 68, so we'll see where we're at.
Oh, you're a young 68.
I'm 66 right now.
Oh, well, I thought you said you were 68.
I will be in 2 years.
Okay,
Pay attention, Michelle.
I'm trying. I'm too poor.
Find somebody that can do a lot of the front of the house clerk job, learn a lot, because there's a lot of different categories that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to have somebody that could maybe eventually, if they wanted to, become full-time and step into the clerk position when I'm ready to retire. So that's the thought right now, but I do need somebody else as an assistant clerk position, which Gail is not right now. She's just administrative assistant, so it would be nice to have a second assistant clerk, because I actually need to have one, because there's a lot of things that if you're not the clerk or assistant clerk, you can't do.
So we put this on as an administrative assistant,
They can still be an assistant clerk.
okay, that's what I was.
Yeah.
I can appoint them as an assistant clerk. Gail does not want to do that.
Oh, okay.
He's got the power.
Yeah, I guess that, yeah, okay, good, so we have options then, it can be this title position that can still do that, great,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
okay,
It's the lowest kind of that we can live with, I guess, for those.
yes. Okay, but I think we'll be mindful of that, knowing with applicants that they would be expected potentially to fill a dual role in this kind of like overarching title position, but it would also be assistant clerk.
Right,
Which is
and
probably gonna be a
also
lot of the
so
duties
that
we're gonna
if
be
I'm
doing.
not here, then there's somebody
Right.
else that can run the office and do some of the stuff I do that there isn't anybody else to do it right now.
So given that, just so I have a better understanding, is it? Do you think we get more applicants as putting it out as administrative assistant versus looking for an assistant clerk? Or do you think that it doesn't really matter? It's,
I don't think it really matters.
okay,
I think when they interview the,
Yeah, I think it's more as an admin assistant, that's more of a generalized
okay,
role. If you just
And
look
you
for,
can train.
for a clerk,
okay,
that's a very.
very special, okay. Okay,
I'm in favor of this. One of my thoughts is though that we're probably not gonna find. It's possible, but we're probably not gonna find somebody who is going to roll into being clerk when you move on.
Well.
If
you know,
if they're only interested in work, yeah,
right.
but if they're only interested in working 20 hours now,
Yeah,
are they're not,
Right.
they're probably, it's probably not gonna be a person that's gonna be looking for full-time down the road.
okay,
Would be my thought, and like you said, we could dream, we could find a young person who's just looking to get some time out of the house, well.
yeah,
And, you know, couple of years down the road, kids will be older and they'll have more time.
I mean, I started part-time and moved into full-time, so it's not uncommon.
No, I know it's not uncommon, but it just,
Oh, we're hoping.
Yeah.
We got a lot of faith in this process.
yeah.
so I'd entertain a motion to allow them to.
I make a motion to allow the authorization to hire for administrative assistant.
Second,
Motion a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye,
Aye,
aye.
opposed nay. Motion carried. You
right,
start looking,
hire away.
select board roundtable, Michelle,
I'm good.
Jessica,
I don't think, so I don't need to update on Act 181. The only other thing that I'm really looking forward to having us work on is hearing some more sidewalk solutions. And then Ian and I will attend the October 16th meeting and report back. I think that's all I have.
anything on? You had an intern, did you have an intern working on law? On the police and on the,
Yes, so he pulled together the information for us for the local option tax, although he was only able to get some of the lodging. So he passed that information on to Greg, and I sent the document to you all to show what we could collect. So we need to add that to a future agenda and talk about it. And if it's something that we want to put for the town meeting, we'll have to do open meetings too.
Better plan for that.
and did you have somebody doing the compiling the information for the police district?
Yes, he started to do that, but wasn't able to get all of the information. I think Chris can probably give you an update about where that project ended. He was able to get call information, but it just nothing really useful.
Unfortunately, the timing was terrible. It was just as he was trying to get that data just as Armin left. So police PD they were down a person, so police's workload unfortunately was fairly high.
Increase, yeah. Cause that's something that we're. If we're
Running
gonna,
out of time.
yeah, we're running out of time, if we're gonna present for town meeting, we have to, I think we just, you know, we need. We need a budget. For what we think it's gonna cost to go townwide, and then we need. What the appeal is gonna be. You know, what the pluses and minuses are of going townwide. I think. That we present it and see where it goes. Ian,
I've been sort of keeping tabs on the ARPA project upstairs for Holly Hall. This looking through the stuff that comes from VIA. Greg's sort of on top of that now and sort of handling the bigger jobs with that. I'm also at the library, attended a library meeting with the library treasury group. That's essentially where their grant came from, and they were very excited about the project. They were visiting other libraries the same day that had received grants, and so they were very happy about the project. And Katie, the head librarian, talked a lot about the project, and I was there as well, sort of back up to fill in more technical details, but it was very, very positive, so that's great.
How are things with the library board?
I think, great,
Do you think they
yeah,
work through their issues
I think
and,
so.
and we've
Yeah.
got a good board now?
yes.
That's it?
Yeah, that's mainly what I've been doing.
I am good. Town administrators report.
All right, the DSWRF, Jill already mentioned that, it's a major milestone for us, it's a big deal. The warrant you signed tonight, 192, is bond payments in there. Needless to say, our cash flow is very tight. So I've talked to, well, I recommend we explore, opening up tax options quarterly. Already talked to Sharon about speaking to other clerks about best practices on how to do that. I'm unsure if that needs to go to a vote or if you just handle that.
I don't know.
We can look into
Not
it.
sure.
We're in the preliminary stages right now, so. But the idea is really just to give better tax options to our residents. Some of these bills are.
Yeah, I know.
We're broken over quarterly instead of twice. Also, it'll increase cash flow coming in. And right now, we are running on fumes until taxes, so.
I think for that particular one, since we vote on when taxes are collected every year at town meeting, it seems like that would be.
It might be an article.
Yeah, it would be an
Yeah.
article to just say it would be quarterly with the details.
So there's that July 1 or August. rather.
Yeah, Virgin's is August 15th, or February 15 and May 15.
Yeah, so
Right.
we're looking into.
Copy and paste, done.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, that would just be on the article for taxes, cause like, it currently says they're due such and such a date, such and such a date, so you just put it 4 times a year.
Yeah, and obviously, let everyone know.
Right,
Jill mentioned this, I brought this to your all attention earlier as well, in previous meetings, we'll need to apply for a loan. In order to have cash flow at the front end of the Water West project. That being said, adding up additional avenues of tax coming in will help that quite a bit significantly, so. And that's all I have. Actually, no, one more thing, by the end of the month, I will start reaching out to each director of each department, and we're starting in the preliminary aspects of budgeting, starting that now instead of on the back end of the year. And we'll have some more.
Good.
Good.
Okay, I'll have more details, that way it'll just streamline a lot of stuff for us moving forward, so.
Yeah, and I updated the documents that we used, that Chris, Sharon, and I used last year.
Yep.
With this year's numbers, but obviously that was, I think. If you have other directions that you wanna go with that, with your experience coming to the role, obviously, you know.
Yeah, it's a good base, good template to start.
Yeah,
So.
it was sort of us figuring out a new direction with it, that was just easier to work with, and it seemed to work quite well last year. So hopefully,
Yeah,
I think it'll continue to do so.
hey, Joel, Peaker, I think Joel said he was gonna work with Brandon and get their budget for their police department, so I don't know if he has done that. Yet or not, but I know he said he was working on that.
He said he was gonna reach out and try to get it so that we had.
But just the one thing about that though, even though we're similar sizes, it's apples to oranges in comparison. Because we're not both starting from the same place. Right, I don't know when Brandon went townwide for them, but they've had more time. So if that budget is not specific to the first year of adoption to going townwide, doesn't really do us any good, because how they do things.
Yeah.
At any other transition point is just comparing something that it's just not executable, so
Yeah.
just something to think about.
They've always, I don't think, they've always been townwide. They've not had a village that I understand. But at least it might be a starting point to look at.
Sure, yeah, good, I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Alright. Correspondence reports. Response received.
Uh. There was the horse. Situation, I'll be reaching out to those folks and. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, so I'll bring back preliminary on that and we can discuss further what our next course of actions are. Yeah.
You don't wanna be wrangling horses?
I'm gonna need a horse to do that.
Oh, I can fix you right up. I got two I'd like to get rid of.
Only take.
I don't know as my wife would be after
Yeah.
that, but. All right, then I guess we're on to executive session. Michelle,
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I make a motion, we enter executive session for 1 VSA section 313 to discuss personnel and attorney-client communications, and I invite Kevin Brown to join us.
Mr. Brown,
Second.
Hey, Nick.
all those in favor? Say aye,
Hi.
opposed nay, motion carried.
Alright, so let's stop this. Do that. No, I can't.
Michelle's not showing her face.
No, she's hiding.
Yes, I have been.